I dismiss Mewa Bawumia Akwawa. Had the latest and hot news qua enemy Bremo and so we are subscribed to the channel now. For more than say over subscribe. What they are say over click the subscribe button now one barely notification. When I new video be upload when the first person I would say a better be. After so we are now like video give us a thumbs up nafi share my Ato Forson na wonye pi na wo hwe na wo hu ye koso e wo Ghana me mu afi ye hwe eye ensema abeto yapono so nti ensemu ya koso nti ensemu.
The president is not concerned. He's out there putting his statue in the hospital when he has done nothing.
Right.
That is a joke.
That's right.
You see, the president is acting like certain comic figure. Ghana for then he's out there mocking Ghanaians. Because hospital now ordering the statue anymore. No. And then why no? Statue no say we are bapping for when you boss one way by force. We need to get serious in this country. You understand? John Mahama now see Legon Hospital and find the statue when see who. John Mahama now see your friends at Maritime Hospital, no? Or no crown was state modern state of the art facility, no? Or no crown find state when see what hospital by the West Sikana Waji and Woody Kutua Manaso Kusi Cathedral. You arrested people. Why didn't you own statue Nunkosi be a cathedral? No, these are shameless bunch of people who have been given power and they think they can just do anything and get away. Does it make sense for us to wake up today and tell us President Akufo Addo could see the statue or see hospital? Investment by wire in the health sector. You should tell us. Sikana Waji and Woody Kutua Mana a cathedral Naka Hono. I didn't tell one first statue Nunkosi cathedral and he had the audacity to go there say or Kwaku Annan. Yes, on the Kwadana. Exactly. Yeah. That tells you the unseriousness I end up in this whole political enterprise. Yes. Is the reason why I'm sending message to young people out there. Say we need to get serious. This emotional partisan activism politics, it's getting us nowhere. That's because these people think we are fools and they see us as tools they can use to achieve their political ends. Means we are no longer with the Supreme Court. We are also. Mecca said, whatever be the outcome of the ruling today, inconsequential so far as resolving this whole impasse is concerned, because already some of us have already expressed concern about the intrusion of the judiciary into the eyes of the judiciary, because the separation of powers, all these institutions certain room to operate under certain flexible environment. You will not have other institutions poking into your eyes. But unfortunately, the whole thing has turned a certain dramatic turn. So controversy in as for by Gabby, yet many judge when you judge. But there are certain basic things as people we can look at and make critical analysis about it. For instance, so we had the dealings and the behavior of this current Supreme Court now it looks as if say abaya the terror arm of power. Use to bully to get their way through, because I heard the circumstances, how predictable the Supreme Court has become, and in the way a manner government business per se go through, they will do everything humanly possible to make sure that it goes through. And on I'm about the public confidence and trust in the institution. Low. And the public trust anywhere. And Ramo Ibrahim Foundation at the statistics Babonten as to how much Ghana for have trust in the institution. You talk about the autonomy of the court. If the court any autonomy, it means that somebody somewhere is pulling strings. And so we achieve justice. Not justice, the kind of verdict institutions and Ghanaians are passing. You should be very much concerned. You don't sit on the bench and say, "Men of people to me or my ruling and not and not baby as if so no be wasem." Or no one casana and one wasem because an institution or that have no respect. Among for Muno and the last institution has to do with the judiciary. But my culture say parliamentarians over the years all had the behavior and as for Ghana for taking it serious. The presidency I had to ponkoso and now people don't take them serious. The only avenue Ghana for our hope the judiciary, the highest pinnacle of judicial power. Menunya Samayan Chesakan Yabako, and weaponizing the judiciary and trust and anything anyhow, because some of the ruling are inconsistent. For instance, Supreme Court is telling us today, ruling in Yamabonte, but per the S-Party application that was granted to Afenyo Markins and said, so we have Nipana or more MPs, so across the carpet now. We can't deny them representation in Parliament because people voted for them, they need representation. Now maybe say, court now, okay, say, Nipa no more voter region, omuni MP na yen ratify next 4 years, omonya MP no, omo de sabi omo ya moa. They don't need representation in Parliament. You see the inconsistency. Yet Chrome has a and a vote MP to Obama no. Your friend say NDC MP Africa.
Gyamfi.
Nipo also ya to Obama no.
Yeah.
He was injuncted for the first time in the history of this country. Man, for 2 good years until say Kotoaba. So you see the level of inconsistency. Yeah. So this is the reason why Ghana for are raising.
But these are two different issues.
No.
The question the other has to do with citizenship.
No. Gabby, because
we know vacating of seat because we're across the carpet.
No, but there is a common element at that point. Now the ultimate issue has not been determined. What I say. Yeah. So you don't injunct because the principle they say the people need representation. That is the basic principle I can't accept. Because that has been the soul of this argument. They need representation until the final matter is determined. You can't tell him to go home. That is what Supreme Court is telling us. But in the case, it was not determined, but he was sacked to go and sit home.
Okay,
you understand?
So to Supreme Court. I think that they are making a very important ruling or something. Or more making a statement. So you go Supreme Court to see so we will come back and
it leaves no room for any argument whatsoever, and the majority decision, very big majority, clear majority, 5-2. It's not as if it was a narrow majority, 3-4 or 4-3. That anyone can say, well, there's some room for kind of review or anything at all. But the point I'm making is that whenever the court speaks, it's such a clear and emphatic order. Even if it's a very narrow majority, that's the decision of the court, and that decision must be respected. And I'm saying that it will result in a degeneration of our society and a destruction of our democratic order for anybody at all to refuse to comply with orders of the Supreme Court. And I think that's non-negotiable. It's something that we must all respect. I have heard some statements by certain political actors to the effect that the case ought to be withdrawn and that there ought to be negotiation and all that. I'm quite surprised because indeed, firstly, I did not hear such expression of a willingness to negotiate and all, or maybe such instruction to the speaker or direct suggestion to the speaker for negotiation and all, when the speaker started embarking on this act. And I think that for me it's very important that the Supreme Court ruled upon this matter, because it is something that had been occurring in this country. The tendency for it to occur really was there. The tendency for it to occur again was there. It was necessary that the Supreme Court came to this clear conclusion and determination of the matter, the meaning of Article 97, Clause 1, paragraphs G and H. And I think we must all respect it.
What do you expect to happen in Parliament?
I think the Speaker of Parliament himself, to start with, indicated in his address to the press last week that the case raised very serious legal issues. Those were serious legal issues and matters bordering on governance in the country. In fact, so I must express my utter shock at this refusal to even file a process. If indeed the Speaker of Parliament himself recognized that the matter raised serious legal issues, as he said to the media last week, where else would you address legal issues but in the court of law? Where else would you have such a definitive pronouncement on the so-called serious legal issues that the Speaker himself recognized in his press statement, done by the Supreme Court of Ghana? So as far as the Speaker of Parliament, indeed, is law-abiding. I've known him for a very long time to comply with the decision of the Supreme Court. As I said, it is non-negotiable in every civilized society. When an order of the court is given, no matter how highly placed or lowly placed the court is, even if it's a magistrate's court, you have to obey until it is set aside.
Having seen the conclusion of this matter, would you say as an Attorney General that there's a need for a constitutional review?
What does it relate to this? The American Constitution itself, very thin, as we all know. Yet, the Supreme Court, that Constitution has survived over 200 years. I think that, of course, there are certain provisions of the Constitution that I think that ought to be amended, and I've expressed my views on it to the media. Article 78, Clause 1, which enjoins the President to appoint majority of his ministers from Parliament, ought to be amended. There ought to be that flexibility. I think that certain institutions, for example, the Electoral Commission, NCC, and what have you, the appointment of their heads has to be with the prior approval of Parliament. But I don't think that it calls for a complete overhaul of the Constitution. And indeed, this Constitution is very strong. And it is one Constitution which even goes as far as prescribing consequences of a failure to carry out the Supreme Court order. The Supreme Court order, the consequences are set out clearly in Article 2, clauses 3, 4, and 5 of the Constitution, that any person to whom an order of the Supreme Court is directed shall duly carry out same. And a failure to carry out such an order, of course, has the consequences of a criminal punishment. In the case of the president, will even result in the president and vice president will result in removal from office.
And finally, do you expect the Speaker of Parliament to rip up Parliament on his own volition after this ruling, given that the court has okayed in such a
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as I said, it's an emphatic determination by the court on the matter, and the Speaker of Parliament has no option but to comply. I mean, I think that we must stop giving with one hand and taking with the other. As I said, it really amounts to double standards and an exercise in contradiction for the Speaker of Parliament in his address to the media say that the case raises such serious legal issues and matters bordering on governance and all that, and then refuse to take back. So this country refuse to take part in the proceedings. I think in this country we must recognize some people for who they are and what they do. This hypocrisy and double standards must cease. The Supreme Court is the final arbiter on all matters in the country, including an interpretation of the Constitution. Indeed, it's the only court solely seeks registration to pronounce on the meaning of relevant provisions of the Constitution. And the Constitution means what the Supreme Court says it means, and nothing more. It is the same in America, and as I said, America, United Kingdom, and all advanced democracies, that is the order that they respect. There's no way a Supreme Court would give a decision in America or United Kingdom, and then the Prime Minister, apart from expressing his disagreement with the decision of the President of America, of course he has the freedom of expression to express his disagreement with the decision, but he has no option but to comply, and they usually comply, and that is it.
Attorney General, many have said that this decision or this judgment was to be expected, and that the judiciary seemed to be in bed with the executive. Can you address that?
I mean that. So first of all, some principles of law have been established well over decades. There's no principle of law argued in this matter which has not been established in this country. And indeed, if that's the case, then any case mounted which has in play those principles will be determined the same way. So I think that if there's indeed a rule of law, an element of it is predictability. It's not a case where a court of law will rule this way on account of the same principle of law, but rule another way on account of the same principle. So indeed, there must be some element of predictability. And I'm saying that indeed, these principles that we contended with in this matter are old principles. There's nothing new. And for those who are saying the court is acting in a certain way and all that, the same people were those who were rejoicing when the Court of Appeal gave a decision acquitting their leader. Their leader was acquitted by the Court of Appeal. They were happy with it. And to date, he's able to make all those arguments in Parliament because he has been acquitted. And I did not raise any issue with that but to appeal. I did not say I'm not going to respect the decision of the court. I respect the decision of the court. And until the decision is set aside by a higher court, which is the Supreme Court, that decision will remain binding on all. So we must stop this hypocrisy and exercises in contradiction. As I said, that when our reaction or attitude to court rulings depends on how palatable we deem it. We cannot react to decisions based on how palatable we deem it, and that's exactly what is happening. Thank you very much.
All right, so the Supreme Court of the land, by 5-2 decision, release speaker declaration say oyi ekofo 9 or declare most sitting vacant no unconstitutional, and Afenyo Markins kasadi numra.
Your position today.
You accept that he's not.
No, I just want us to have clarity for the purposes of education. What is your position now? I want to know. What has the court said?
The court has really.
That what? No, yes, we are educating ourselves. You know, I want that we are educating us. We are not fighting. We are educating ourselves. So I want to know from you.
He doesn't want to respond.
No.
Go on with your. You can't detain us here.
So what is it? I want to know.
The court has really.
That's what. That is so. I mean, I just wanted clarity on this matter. We can only thank God, and also it's a moment for all of us to rally around the choice we made in 1992, democracy. Democracy requires decency, and that is the path the MPP majority caucus took to ensure that we do right to the law. Nothing more except to say that we expect our colleagues on the other side, including Mr. Speaker, to respect the outcome of this case so that we move on as a nation. All we have is the peace of the country. All we have is our democracy. And in West Africa and in Africa as a whole, Ghana shines in the eyes of the people in terms of democracy. So this is another feat we have achieved, and we must celebrate it. It's not a matter of MPP against NDC. It's a matter of constitutional, interpretation, and the court has given its verdict. We should all respect it and move on. Thank you very much. I think on the
you expect the Speaker to reform Parliament.
let's let the lawyers deal with the issues of law. I think that all we want is peace in the country, and we chose peace, and today we've achieved peace. That is all we
The
say.
Speaker has no choice. He has to abide by the ruling of the Supreme Court. He has no choice. He has no choice. Absolutely no choice.
What's the way forward?
The way forward is for him. He would decide on what to do.
The
Supreme Court is spoken.
The interesting thing about this matter is that as far back as 1968, after the first Republican Constitution, we decided as a nation, which can be seen by the proposals of the Constituent Assembly, that two things will happen. The first thing that we decided was that we will have the judiciary interpret the Constitution. In fact, they said two things. They wanted the judiciary to be the ultimate arbiter of what the Constitution says, and they also wanted the judiciary to be able to give advisory opinions. The people of Ghana rejected the second suggestion and said that the judiciary should not give advisory opinions, but the judiciary is the body that should interpret the Constitution. The second thing that is important in that entire the 1968 proposals was that they decided that Parliament will not be supreme. The supremacy of Parliament was not accepted. What they decided was that Parliament will be under the Constitution, and so all our constitutions since then have followed this position. In fact, the 1992 Constitution in Article 1 says that sovereignty lies in the people. That sovereignty was expressed when the people, through a referendum, voted to bring this Constitution into force. And the Constitution tells us that the supreme law of Ghana is the Constitution. Everybody else is under the Constitution. Nobody is above anybody. Everybody has his role. And so the fact that the Supreme Court interprets the Constitution does not mean that they are above anybody. In fact, there are judges sitting on the bench. One of them is my classmate. My juniors are on the bench. But once they go and sit there, even if it's my own child sitting there, I cannot but bow and give the person respect, not for the person, but for the office and for the law. And we expect every other Ghanaian to also respect the law. We don't all agree on what is said and what is done. There are several times that I've disagreed with what is said and what is done. But because of the respect for the rule of law, because of the respect for the Constitution, we just keep quiet and follow the law, hoping that if we don't agree, another opportunity will come that we'll be able to express ourselves. So what has happened today, we have not seen the reasons. We are happy because we came to court because we believed that the right thing was that the people had not by their action vacated their seats. So what has happened to them, we are happy about it. Tomorrow, the reasons will come out. And when the reasons come out, as lawyers, then we can look at the reasons and what the court has said, and then we can discuss it. In fact, the fact that the court has ruled in your favor does not mean that you agree with the reasons. You might decide that even the reasons some of the judges gave, you do not agree with it. Two of the judges talked about jurisdiction. We don't know what they said, so tomorrow we will know. And when we know, we will prepare to answer more questions in detail. But as was said by the leader, as far as I'm concerned, today democracy has won, constitutionalism has won.
And Bagbin has lost.
No, nobody has lost. Democracy has won, constitutionalism has won, and nobody has lost. Every one of us is holding every position that we hold in trust for the people of Ghana. We don't hold it in our own capacity. When you are an MP, when you are a minister, when you are a president, when you are a speaker, when you are a chief justice, you hold it in trust for the people of Ghana, and you are under the law. your time will come and you leave the position. And that is what we must all write. So the 4 MPs have been reinstated. They must come to Parliament. And as far as I'm concerned, if the status quo ante is brought back, then this whole dispute that people call him caucus leader, whatever, it should stop from today. We have a majority, which is MPP, and the majority leader is Honorable Alexander Afenyo Markins. It's as simple as leader. There's no, how can I, madam? We've come from court. You want me to give you a constitutional lecture? Okay, we'll take our group photograph. So what we'll do is that we'll talk about that. Please.
So you heard the lead counsel for Majority Leader Afenyo Markins speaking on the judgments.
All right, so just in near Airbus here from the Supreme Court, HS Abasumana Bagbin, our Speaker of Parliament, now could declare 4 seats vacant. Now Supreme Court are overturning that particular ruling. Now with these 4 seats, Miesa the NPP and 1 the NDC. The second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Andrew Esiama, called Parliament as an independent member of Parliament. And now, Kweku Asante, Suhu member of Parliament, and of course, Cynthia Morrison. So more call as independent content crow. And now, Peter Kwachiaka also called as an independent parliamentary candidate. Speaker of Parliament, Abasumana Bagbin, Ejina ni tumi so article 97.1, and then Asifo anybody na declare mo seat no vacant. Sisi a Supreme Court, asema Eban say Supreme Court are overturning that particular declaration, making their seats not vacant. And so for that matter, Afenyo Markins and the NPP continues to be the majority in Parliament. This is what is happening. Menoka say there's jubilation all over Parliament, and of course, we share the way almost jubilate to Honoma. They are answering questions. So it tells you that this is what is happening. Supreme Court by 5-2 ruling. Panel na no mote judges mote asem so mudi no moye makomako enson no emu 5 say there be asema Abasumana Bagbin eka ye declare the seat vacant no enye ne kwaso no mienu so e de omo de e de aba. But as it stands now 5-2 the majority, and that for that matter the issue has been overturned. The declaration by Abasumana Bagbin, the Speaker of Parliament, has been overturned. Now, Afenyo Markins and the MPP, the majority, and those seats are declared vacant. They can still go back to their seats and sit there as members of Parliament, representing their various constituencies. Innocent. I think that was expected. That was expected?
Oh, really?
How?
That was expected because in recent times the Supreme Court has become so predictable.
Wow.
Betting we the only thing they are changing is you see now among 4 from unanimous FC.
Yeah.
And now you see they just try to balance it just to make it look like. But you see, ordinary ruling from the highest pinnacle of judicial power bar, and people respect it.
Yeah.
But there is one thing that is missing. That respect is not there. Because I'm telling you, sitting at the bench and dispensing justice is just a smaller part of it. Getting people to believe and trust in the justice delivery system, that is the whole package. You understand? So working one part and not working one part. That is why I'm very much concerned about the many concerns being raised by Ghanaians. Mo Ibrahim.
Yeah.
See, Afro barometer. I search about this whole judiciary as well, because it is not about the final delivery. It is about the processes and the circumstances. Recently, we went to court. Don't forget, Asamo Kaka say Speaker of Parliament, Uncle defending her. So he didn't go there with a representation. So I have Afenyo Markins So that is by the way. Chief Justice and panel team there was one person failed parliamentary candidate of the New Patriotic Party, the MPP. It was raised at the Supreme Court. This is the highest judicial power. That's Obia our partisan ties in the past. Our core MP, our fairly, our whole central. Not such a critical case. What contaminated number 10? Common sense will tell you, say, it will not augur well with you and the people. Because you know why? Chief Justice By and also, this is a constitutional matter. Constitutional matter brought forth by political actors. And young Coco didn't send no call to a nipa from political party and the core. So the political interest, you know, so you can discount it on the basis a constitutional matter and obi our known partisan ties among for him say nipa we or MPP ni or parliamentary way ofeli and a President Akufo Addo abeg the judge and such a sensitive matter what come na beto so I am not saying say what the Supreme Court dey about bonten correct and as because I'm no to me we have no right, we have no power, but you will be able to match adwen what I say because era we are wo mu no yemfa na me ye judge na me ye we hunu nipa what I say na make sure da biara meka Pontius Pilate no parents no mo shada de che na kwa na manfo ka o madwene kire no na nti se ye fen se era we ya we you will sit there Obama with judgment we will sit here we will express because that is democracy no that de che omokra no also okoku yesu no ye se o ye fen se Barnabas onja Barnabas no ku yesu anya public na no mo shout to him so you don't sit there and think say dispensing justice and it ends there everybody should shut up no among for better because there are certain basic elements border on common sense reasoning and logic we heard the Supreme Court ruling in recent times every and then man for a lose trust and confidence and what as a judge as a chief justice you should know that you are just passing because obi abatena paying all that you do is to redeem the image of the judiciary because we are going to an election there will be a number of cases coming up and if you have people not trusting the judiciary you should be worried because at the end of the day as some no yet the court and about settle at the end of the day you know what happens we are moving into an era of chaos what I say and it's the reason why it is incumbent on the judiciary and the chief justice today. I am sending her a text message say on repair the friends said the image of the judiciary because the image of the Ghana's judiciary is in the tatters, is in the gutters onima me catch no and she has to do everything to repair and yes as a Ghana for lose trust confidence our judiciary we are done because baby Kwaku do no ruling about right whether right or wrong I don't care but I'm very much concerned about public trust in the institution because democracy revolve around the last time I catch us say so we are democracy if you sit somewhere and you think the soldier for the bomb by police and your police it is we the people the trust and the confidence we repose in state institutions, democratic institutions, and among democracy, just imagine say everybody in Accra, that's around a pass and you see a by a demonstration. Do you think the president can sit here? We saw what happened in Sri Lanka when the citizens rose to the Jubilee House. The president ran away. You understand? So power, the sovereignty of Ghana, residing on we the people. It doesn't matter who you are, Chief Justice or Supreme Court, you are just a smaller part of it, playing a role. Very soon you fade. You understand? Another person will come, but we need to protect this country. So don't sit there and allow yourself to be used as a stooge in the hands of power. Say obi direct then you go. Use your conscience. I don't care whether people belong to NDC or MPP. But you see, never lose your conviction. Never lose your offense or your conscience. But we've gotten to a point that we've lost everything. No value, no principle, no morality. Then I say for them. And then Supreme Court will mention the conversation as Makachiro said, whatever be the outcome, inconsequential to resolving this matter because the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of MPP. Do you think the NDC MPs will go and sit there for parliament business to happen?
It's something else.
No, that is up to them. They can also decide to boycott. Into boycott, the speaker cannot make decision our house because also you don't have the number. So I know that what happens is the reason why America said in modern governance there are methods they resolve some of these issues, mediation, reconciliation, whole lot of stuff. Because we are all learned individuals, are very rational. We settle, we argue among ourselves. How do we resolve this particular issue? I know the day, consistently we are forcing them to lose trust in our institutions, and I think that is very dangerous. Obama Bahano Kachere and say Africa should build strong institution, you know. He was not talking about Kwaku Annan, and I said Obi Betina institution in my barrio. He was talking about allowing rule of law principle in the way Ebaya Juma Sabaya Nipa Benya trust a woman. Because remember that's why I have minute trust to police. I do think Mina case is report to police. We need to have trust in all these institutions because that is what makes democracy today. And look at the kind of state a woman there. The media, the police, everything. Adibia Yabasa. Democracy, the only fortunate thing I hear is Ghana for are very discerning enough. Say we don't want to break our fourth republic because circumstances are revolve around Africa. How much some countries are breaking their democracy. The Ghana term, but because we are civilized, we are very tolerant people. We hope that election is in the offing. You know, let us hope that things will get better. So Supreme Court, there's somebody ruling about it, but we are telling them that our integrity out there, it's in the and it is incumbent upon them to do everything to repair. They should go and look at the Mo Ibrahim report. They should go and look at your first Afro Barometer report. You know, you should be very much concerned. What the program was now? Yeah, man for the any rating baby and a man for a board downward. Shouldn't you be concerned about it? When you know, say whatever you do, no, every revolve around public trust and confidence. You can sit there and say you don't care, but institution now will bottle got them. And I think that is very sad. Gabby, you see, sir, for the first time in the election history of this country, this is the first time walking into a major election, sir. The conversation, you know, and your economy. The conversation is something different. Recently, we were talking about galamsey, and then we are talking about Supreme Court. But leading up to an election, we should be having heated economic debate, a border on the life of the people. But today, I'm asking you, which economy are we to speak of? Do we even have an economy? Look at the dollar today. Ghana, for the first time in the history of this country, you declare bankrupt. For the first time, you see, who's a man for the musica bar buying besan? Only a woody and I won't see a treasure bill bonds and then as a form. Omomudo musica acquire that investment, you know, as we speak today. A buying our restructure, they are not getting their money. Do you know that when it comes to investment, the most secured are OBIS show a bond and your stock, because stock, you can wake up today and then you have fluctuations, you lose all your money. But when it comes to bond, is the most secured investment anywhere in the world, apart from Ghana.
I see.
And Omomudo Musika Kwe, you know, Omusu. What is a Makia Blankson, that Ghanaian American comedian? Social media because Nisika is on the line.
We see school Ewo Aguna Sabai area muho.
Yes. And then Galamsey, Yanam Swama, a man for Koda prison, Madame Fabenda Bahani was arrested. Why? Because these people, Yenyesika Mfabonting and Galamsey no Mutu. So all these are critical issues are in the end never affected the elections, and you think there is anything that is more important than this parliament already? Parliament, you know, apart from partisan football. Me, I don't care what is going on because one institution has any respect in the eyes of the people who come a parliament, apart from partisan football. And this 8th parliament way is the weakest link in our democracy. But per the numbers, you know, we thought say it to be useful, but it has turned out to be the most unuseful parliament under this particular fourth republic. You understand? So people don't care. We are very much concerned about bread and butter, the economic issues. Look at the dollar today. Look at now news we abuso kind for air kasa. They are telling you that they can't even import. The president is not concerned. He's out there putting his statue in the hospital when he has done nothing. That is a joke.
That's right.
You see, the president is acting like certain comic figure be as a Ghana for Nia Breno. Then he's out there mocking Ghanaians. Go hospital now the statue you see anymore. No. And then why no? Statue no say we are bapping for when you come boss one way upon by force. We need to get serious in this country. You understand? John Mahama now see Legon Hospital and find a statue when see home. John Mahama now see your friends at Maritime Hospital, no? Or no kind was state modern state of the art facility, no? Or no kind find a statue when see what hospital by the West Sikana Waje and Udukutu Amanaso Kusi Cathedral. You arrested people. Why didn't I want for statue Nunkosi be a cathedral? No, these are shameless bunch of people who have been given power and they think they can just do anything and get away. Does it make sense for us to wake up today and tell us President Akufo Addo could see the statue or see hospital? Investment by wire in the health sector. You should tell us. Sikana Waji and I would go to Amana, a cathedral, Naka Hono. I didn't tell one for statue Nunkosi cathedral, and he had the audacity to go there say or Kwaku Annan. Yes, on the Quadanadi. Exactly. Yeah. That tells you the unseriousness and underpinning this whole political enterprise. Is the reason why I'm sending message to young people out there. Say we need to get serious. This emotional partisan activism politics, you know, is getting us nowhere because these people think we are fools and they see us as tools they can use to achieve their political ends. Means, you know, we are no longer. People must be enlightened. Now you get away from emotions. We should be very rational. Now you're making sure that we are deciding what has to be done for us, not obey to Abaman to decide because you can say for the past 30 years, what does we say me a professor, me a doctor, me say why the impact I impacted on this economy to free the people. Why we are all useless. You understand? Because until say every single one of us become even, you know, Charlie, we are getting nowhere. You understand? We need to get serious in this country. Now you're making sure that we preach the good message.
You're waiting for winning and someone also now say we now subscribe to the channel now, but more than say over subscribe. Now feel so what like video no now feel what share my offer for so now we need to that one year ago. Also betting actually what you for a year and somewhere now a walk comment box name over to interview in my next video.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.